Hey everybody, welcome back to Over Here We Craft for Money. I'm DJ, and in today's video, episode 8 of our Beginners Crafter series using our Cricut machine, we are going to be making the companion pieces to our football t-shirts that we made in episode 7. If you haven't checked out episode 7, you definitely want to do that because that's where the money making starts for this season. But in today's video, we are going to be making drinkware. We're going to be doing some etched glass using our Cricut machine and some designs that you can actually find in Cricut Design Space. There is nothing like an ice cold one while you are cheering your favorite team on to victory. We're going to start in Cricut Design Space. We're going to come up with 2 designs that we can put on some glassware that we got from the Dollar Tree that will complement our football themed t-shirts. We're going to cut that in permanent vinyl using our Cricut cutter machine. And then we're going to use some etched armor to etch the designs into the glasses. And then we're going to come back at the end and talk about pricing and decide together, is it a sellable craft for you this football season? So let's go ahead and jump into Cricut Design Space. Hey moneymakers, okay, we have made it over here to Cricut Design Space, which is where we're going to do all of our designing for episode 8. So we are making Bears football glassware to complement the shirt that I have on. So the first thing that I am going to do is come over here and find me a good image that I want to use. I told y'all in the last video, I really feel like Cricut has upped their game with their images. They are bringing me joy. So I'm going to come in here, and the first thing I know is that I do want one that says classy until kickoff, because that's definitely the companion to the shirt that I have on here. So we have to pick the one that we like, and we like this. I like it because it has a nice thick font that I can make sure will not break apart when we're etching. So you always want something nice and thick. All right. Now we know we have that one. That's one. And then we are going to go into our Chicago Bears one because that's what we used in our last one. And we liked this image. And I think that this could be a really good one that could work for us when we do our etching. And then, of course, I always like to give myself one extra image just in case I don't like the first one. And this is kind of retro-y, and I kind of like this one. So I'm going to bring these 2 in. And we're going to start with these 2. All right, these are going to be the 2 glasses that we are making. So my first one is going to be their 16-ounce glass beer mug from the Dollar Tree. Nice sturdy glass. I'm not a beer drinker, but I do like cider when I'm watching a game every now and again. So we're going to definitely make that. And then seasonally, because it is football season, they bring in these cute little football glasses. Now, what you got to keep in mind with this is that we have a very small amount of space that we're going to be able to customize. That's this oval right here. It's on both sides, but it's still not a lot of space to work with. So that's what we are going to be making today. So because we know the space we're working with, I know that I'm going to put the classy until kickoff on the 16-ounce mug because I have a lot more space. So I've measured that already. And our measurements, we're going to go up here and unlock our little padlock. Our measurements on here are going to be, I have it wrote down here, so that's why I'm looking down. We're going to have 3 in width, and I'm going to do 5 in height. So 3 by 5. It does make it look a little, narrow, but that's okay because that's going to be perfect for this right here. All right. Our next one is going to go in that little oval. And so we're definitely going to have to shrink this down. So let me move my picture for a second, make this a little bit bigger for us, and then I'll bring my picture back. All right. So now we know this one is in the right size that we want. So I can move this one over, and let's deal with this one first. So I really do like this one, but we definitely are going to have to size this down because it's not going to work this way. The other thing we have to keep in mind with this particular one is when you look over here to the right, you do not see an opportunity to group or ungroup it. And what that means is you can't break this image apart. So this is the one I'm gonna have to go with, versus this one. When I highlight it, you notice that it allows me to ungroup. So we'll deal with the one we can ungroup in a second, because I'm not sure which one I'm going to like. So I'm gonna do both of them, so I have choices. So the first thing that we're gonna do is look at the size. So I measured this one. It is a 23-ounce cup, but that oval that I can actually design in is a 3x2 inch. So I'm going to unlock this again. I'm going to highlight that and make a 3 width by 2 in height. Now that's fine, but it's a square image and we're not putting it in a square space. So we're going to have to use the warp feature in order for this to work out for us, okay? And so we're going to call this one our bear with paw, and then this is our bears with swoop. So bears with paw, the little paw shape here. Again, let me make this a little bit bigger because I definitely want you guys to be able to see what we're doing. I'm gonna go even a little bit bigger. All right, so hopefully this is big enough for you all to be able to see. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is, and colors don't matter when you are etching, because you're gonna just use whatever type of permanent vinyl you have. And it can't be cheap Cricut vinyl. I mean, not Cricut, Dollar Tree vinyl, because it's gonna move and you just don't wanna take a chance on your materials moving on that glass when you're etching, because once etching cream touches the glass, that's it. All right, so I'm gonna change it red so I can see what I'm doing with it. And we definitely are going to have to warp this image, because that's the only way that we're gonna be able to fit it in that little oblong shape. So I'm gonna click on warp, and you do need to have Cricut All Access in order to get to this. So when I think about my image and I'll see what options I have, this one and this one look like the best one for me to try. So I am going to take a look at this one and see how that looks. Once I do, I am going to take that and I'm going to resize that down just a little bit, because again, the 3x2 is if the space we were working with was square or rectangular. So I'm gonna edit this image down a little bit, and I'm going to take this image and I'm gonna make the width 2.52, and I'm gonna give me a height of 1.62. And I'm gonna do that because when I look at that glass and this space that we have to work with right here, I don't want anything spilling off of the circle, because it has grooves in the glass, and that means that the image is not gonna lay flat and etching won't work. So that's how we're gonna take care of that one. This one is good to go. The next one is, we're gonna bring over our other image, because I'm gonna see which one I like the best on the oval. But if I were to try to etch this is not gonna work, because they have an offset. And while I love a good offset, when it comes to etching, no bueno. So the first thing that we're gonna have to do is we're going to have to ungroup it. Once I have ungrouped the image, I'm gonna click off and then click back on and move the part I want. I don't need the offset for etching, so we can go ahead and delete that. We can bring this one back over. I'm going to go ahead and change the color to red, because in this case, I want all of my images to print on one mat. We don't need all that complication. I also measured this one as well. Now, the good thing is the bears with the little swoop is what I'm calling it. It's kind of curved enough, so I don't have to worry about it having that arc, if you will. So what I'm gonna do with that one is I'm gonna click on it, and I am going to change my size, and I'm gonna bring that one to a 2.8, just because that oval is not the same size all the way across. Right now, unfortunately, I did not, when I hit 2.8, it automatically gave me my height. And I think I can live with that, because on this glass, at its best height, at the top of the oval, that's where the 2 comes in at. But as you see, it gets a little more narrow as it goes. And so for that reason, I don't want to mess with the height too much. So I'm gonna leave that. It'll be a 2.8 across and a 1.38 in height. All right, so now we have 2 of our images. We're just missing the other one. So let's go over here and find it, bring it over here, and let's go ahead and turn it red. All right, so now I have all of my images that I want to work with. However, because we are going to be etching on glass, we won't be mirroring this. We need a boundary around the image, because if we don't, anything the etching cream touches, it's going to mess us up. So to protect the rest of the glass that we don't want to etch, we're going to get us a shape. So I'm going to click on the shape panel and grab me a square. Color doesn't matter. We're just going to use it to create our template. So I am going to go ahead and click on it and duplicate it 3 times because we have 3 images we need to make a template for. With our first one, we're going to take our first square and we're going to stretch it out over classy until kick off. I'm going to turn it red just because when it's on the cut mat, it's easier for me to see. And then I'm going to stretch it down. I am going to right click my mouse and put my image to the back so that I can see it. Now I want to go ahead and try to center my image by dragging my mouse over both, clicking on Align, hitting Center, and now I have my border. This is good. It's enough space all the way around, so I'm going to drag my mouse again over both images, and I'm going to click Slice, and then I have my first template. That's all I need. I can get rid of the image here on the inside. Now we're going to move our images over so we can get those other 2. Because again, I'm still not sure which one I'm going to put on the football glass, but I'll have choices. Take the second square, stretch it over. Again, I'm going to go ahead and turn the color red. I'm going to send the image to the back. And for some reason this time, it's not going to let me slice it, but there's an alternative. So once I shrink down the box that I don't need, because I don't need the box around it to be that big, bring it a little closer in. Now I'm going to drag my mouse again over both images, and this time I'm going to click on Subtract because Slice was not an option for me, but it will achieve the same effect that I'm looking for. Now my second template is done, and it's time to do the final one. Bring the last square over. And now it's time to do the bears with the swoop. Drag it. Put it to the back. Change its color. And then weirdly, this image is going to let me slice. Either way, Slice or Subtract is your friend in making a template for etching your glassware. Drag the mouse back over after getting the size that you want. Drag it, hit Slice, and you have your third template. And just like that, it's gonna be time to cut because we have our templates. Now these are one and done templates, okay? Once you apply Armor Etch to it, you will not be able to use these templates again. So it's okay because the cost factor at the end you'll see is really pennies on the dollar. So now we have everything that we need for us to head on over and cut this project. So we're going to turn on our Cricut machine. Remember, I have the Air Explorer 2. If you haven't checked out the video where I share with you how to identify what is the best Cricut cutter out there on the market today for whatever your budget is, make sure you check out one of the earlier videos in the series. Now, for this point, I put all of the templates in the same color so that they could all cut on one mat. And remember, because we are not pressing this onto any kind of apparel item, we will not mirror these images. They need to go on exactly how we created. So that's why you see them all on the mat together with their border all the way around them. And these squares are going to make it easy for us to place the templates down on the glassware. And it's really going to make it easy for us to etch. So love this part of the project. Once you have the machine connect to your particular cutter machine, in this case, again, it's the Cricut. It's going to connect via Bluetooth on my screen here. And we will be cutting this out in premium vinyl. And I use these things here that I have bookmarked, and so it's easy for me to find and see. So with that, we'll cut. Normal pressure. Let's head to the machine. All right, so we are laying down some Oracle 651 vinyl. I am going to get my brayer. All right, so we're gonna bray this one down with our soft felt side there. And I just like to go over it. I am using a light grip mat. It was the first one I grabbed. All right, and I turned it upside down because I've been using the top part of the mat a lot. And so the sticky side is probably more so down toward the bottom. So I'm gonna feed it in this way so I can get some use out of the bottom of the mat. So, all right, our machine is ready for cut. So we're gonna slide it on in, feed that in properly, and tell it to cut. I always like to check the blade and make sure there's nothing stuck on the blade, and I'm gonna tell it to cut. It will do its job. All right, so a couple of things that you gotta have for this project. I already told you about the 2 glasses. You are gonna need some painter's tape, and you're gonna need some weeding tools. I have a couple different ones. I also like to use my stabilizer, my glass stabilizer, so that it's not moving while I'm trying to work with it. So first things first, when you are doing this type of project, one more thing you're going to need, let me go grab it. Should have grabbed it before I sat down. I'm not even gonna pause the video. I'm gonna take y'all with me. All right, we're going to need some transfer tape. And y'all remember from one of the earlier episodes in the series, I'm loving some new transfer tape that's clear so I can line my stuff up a lot better. So you will need transfer tape because we're gonna have to move it from the carrier sheet to the actual glass. So let's get started with this part of the process. First things first is we gotta get the images off of here. And we did not mirror them because they need to go face forward onto the glass. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm gonna get my scissors, because I just happen to have them right here next to me, and I'm gonna need them when it is time to cut the transfer paper. So I'm just lifting this up a little bit so I can get my scissors up underneath so I can cut. So I see where my image is ending. I'm just gonna cut this first part. This is for the long glass, right? Because remember, the other images are kind of short. And we're gonna save this because, as you can see, I've been cutting on it a little bit anyway. And I did that because, again, we don't wanna waste anything, right? We're not saving money over here. Either we make it from what we sell or we make it from what we save. So I'm gonna cut up here to get to the shorter images, which are up here at the top. And again, I'm gonna have all of this to do for future glasses. The one thing about etching, though, is once you're done with that first design, you're done with it. So you won't get multiple uses out of the vinyl, even though we're using quality vinyl. All right, so here are my images, and here's what I have left for future projects. So we love that. And you know you can get Oracle by the roll, but you can also get it from Hobby Lobby and Michael's by the sheet, in case you didn't know. All right, so now we have our image. And what I'm gonna go ahead and do for the sake of making it easier to see what we're working with is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut right along that line so that I have 2 separate ones. So we'll start first with our first one. So we'll get our weeding tool and we will pull it off. We don't need the outline. This is the outline of the box that we put around it. We don't need that part. Okay, so I'm gonna set this off to the side. If it will let my fingers go. All right. Now, normally when you would weed, you would pull away the outline of your image, and that's what you would press on the shirt that was reversed. When you are etching, you need all of this border. So what you're actually going to peel away are the actual letter. So that's what the etching cream is gonna go on. So I'm gonna start carefully when you have images that have pieces in between, because I don't want this, I need this to still look like a C, a L, and an A. So I wanna be careful. Now I'm gonna run into something with this S because it's got that little bitty baby piece. Y'all see that little baby piece right there? I'm gonna take my time, y'all. This is why you also have to use a quality vinyl. Because if this had been Dollar Tree vinyl, I promise y'all, those little pieces on that S, those S's, that stuff would have come up because it just wouldn't have stuck to the carrier sheet. So you can see, that's how it should look. All right. Now remember, we want the outlines of it. So now we're going to peel away to get our football. That's part of this image. And again, I slowly start to pull it up. I'm not going bananas and pulling it all crazy because I want to make sure that all my little pieces stay. So our little image is coming together nicely. I have that little inside of the part of the football, so we're going to pull that off. That came off really good. So far we've got classy. The next thing I'm going to do is pull off the little, I don't know what we would call these, the little accents. There was 6 of those, so we have 3 on each side. Okay, one more to pick up. All right. Get off my finger. This stuff is tacky, y'all. It is sticking on my finger. Driving me crazy. My little weed thing is on the other side. I'm not going to get up. All right. The next is we have until kickoff. So let's remove those letters. Now these were not together. I'm going to stick it on the back of my hand since they want to stick so bad. And this will be, again, we got to be careful. That was on me because I pulled it in the wrong way. There we go. See, because I need that middle of the N to stay or it won't look like an N. All right. T. I. Let me know in the comments if you've done any etch work before, or will this be your first time trying etch? I love it because it's actually a material that when you pay for it one time, it is the gift that will keep on giving. You will have, I'm going to show y'all the jar I have in a minute. I've had it for like 2 years. All right. Again, we're back to slowly peeling. So none of my letters, that A trying to be rude. I can see it happening. So let me pull away this extra stuff and let's come back over here. And we want to make sure that that O in kickoff sticks. So I'm going to press it back down with my finger. I'm probably going to have to replace it because I can see that it looks like it didn't want to come off properly. So I'm going to put my finger there to hold it in place and I'm going to pull away the other piece. I am going to have to fix it because it's still trying to come off. So I'm going to go ahead and complete the process. But before I go too crazy, I know there's where my O is. So to get that back, that's why I have 2 sets of weeding tools here. But sometimes it happens and I need the tweezer piece. I'm going to grab the part of my O that did not come off like it should have. The sticky side is already sticking. So all I got to do is look for the cut line and there it is. And then I'm going to press it back down really good, firm pressure. We got one more piece to this design, which is the dot for the eye. So let's pick that up. And now our image has been fully weeded and is now ready to be put on our design. Okay, so now in order to get the design on our glass, there's 2 things that we need to do. I've already washed it. Sometimes people will wipe it back down with alcohol, but I have not touched it since I washed it. So I don't need to do that. And then I'm going to line up my paper, make sure that I'm cutting enough. And then I'm just going to cut me a nice little square. I'm starting with the bigger image first so that I can reuse the contact paper. I don't care how hard I try, I cannot cut straight. I cannot. I try my best, but I cannot. All right. The next thing that we need to do is we need to move it off of here. Now you can see this white, the carrier sheet keeps curling. So it's causing me problems. I'm just going to cut this away just so that hopefully your paper can stop curling enough for me to put the transfer paper on top. I'm just going to cut this away. All right. Another piece of trash. We don't need that. All right. So now I'm going to set this on here enough for me to get this sheet started. So we measured it. We already know. So we peel a little bit away so that we can go ahead and have it cover our image. I'm still learning how to work with this particular transfer tape, and it's a little tricky, but the basic idea or principle here is whatever transfer tape you use, you want to have it cover the entire image, including the border. In this case, I'm trying to stick a piece of it to the table and then just kind of pull it back. I didn't move the brayer, so I had to go get it. And that actually helps me push it forward and then pull away. And that makes sure that it sticks all the way over the entire image. I'm going to save the rest of that. And now I'm going to bray it down so that I would be able to remove it and put it on the mug. I'm going to use my mug stabilizer, set the cup there, and now it's about laying the image down. Let's give you guys a better view. Lay it on top, figure out exactly where I want to place it, and I want to make sure that nothing gets down on the base. That's looking good. Time to set the image down. Something I absolutely love from the Dollar Tree are the parchment square papers. They are perfect for etching. So we know that the F is what matters. So we're gonna take our parchment and we're gonna stick it down over bulk of our image. So that way too much doesn't get stuck before we're ready. So we know that we don't wanna touch too much of that F part. So I'm just laying it here to line it up and make sure I'm not crooked and come right with my middle. Now, I'm gonna check myself, make sure I didn't come over too far off my glass, and I didn't. So I am able to double check that, and I like it, okay? So now that I know that it is gonna work, all I gotta do is slowly peel up and remove my parchment paper. And again, I already know. I'm just coming straight down the middle, following my design. Now my middle is done, and I can take to the side, and I can take to the other side. It's there. I can bray, hands. Loving how it's looking. I'm just making sure I press everything down, get a closer view, and I'm sorry that I don't have the camera on that for you all. But now it's time to start peeling away the carrier sheet. I'm gonna come back into focus in a minute, so bear with me. What I try to do is pull away from the image, and I do it very slowly, partially to save the transfer tape. The other piece is because we want to make sure all those little baby pieces are stuck to the glass. If you see that it's not, the good thing is go back over it, rub it down with your finger, and then slowly pull away again. And that's what you see me doing right here. A couple of those little pieces of the S wanted to come up, so all I did was push it back down with my finger. And sometimes I crease the paper as I pull away, like you see me doing there. And that's allowing me to put pressure to keep the vinyl in place while also pulling it away. Again, you will need a quality permanent vinyl for this part, because if you don't have that, a cheaper vinyl is definitely going to come up, and you're just going to be frustrated and wasting your money because you're going to have to cut the image again. Almost to the bottom, pulling that away. Got to just worry about that last little part of football. And a little piece did get stuck from the K. So I'm going to go back and grab that. I'm weeding tool. And now we're good to go. Next thing we need to do is tape our image. You're going to get you some painter's tape and tape all around the border, protecting anywhere that there's visible glass from the top, the bottom, and the sides. Just like that. All right, let's go ahead and move on and weed our second image so we can decide which one we like the best. Again, we're going to get rid of the border around it, and then we're just going to weed the letters. Again, reverse weeding is what this is called. And we're going to take our time because we have that little bear paw and it had those little bitty pieces, but nothing too complicated that we could not get out with our pin weeding tool. All right, I'm liking that. It's kind of cute. So I'm going to cut off the extras, and then I'm going to weed the second one, and we're going to decide which one we like. This one was a little more like the first one because it had those curly cues in the font, and this was our bear's swoop. Cut away the rest, and now decide which one for our football glass. So I'm gonna measure it. That one works, that one doesn't. I love it, I love it, love it, love it, but it's not gonna work because the paw is gonna hang off the side. So I'm gonna trim it a little bit more to see, but I don't wanna take a chance and ruin the glass because that edge of the paw, which gives it character, is not going to work. And this is the companion glass for my shirt I made. So I'm gonna go with the Bear Swoop, but don't worry, we don't waste nothing over here. So we're gonna get a bonus cup in a minute. Let's save that transfer tape that we use for the second time. We're getting a multiple use out of it. Slowly peeling that back, and then I'm just gonna eyeball it over that oval. So that measurement works great for that one. Just lay it down, press it down real good, bray it with my fingers, get y'all a little closer. Now there's some creases in it, but there's an easy way to resolve that. Once I pull the transfer tape away, I'm going to use the back of my weeding tool to get those air pockets out by just slowly pushing the air out. We don't want to puncture the vinyl, but we want to push the air out. And once we've done that, we're going to want to use our painter's tape and tape off any part of the glass that the etch cream could get on and damage the glass. So that's what you see me doing here. And that glass is ready too. Now I know y'all know we are not finna waste that cute bear paw design. Not gonna happen, honey. We finna use that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and brayer that design. We've got our shot glass. I got these in bulk off of Amazon. I usually buy like 24 at a time because when I do girls trip t-shirts orders, they usually want shot glasses. So I always have those on hand. I'm just carefully peeling back the carrier sheet, getting the rest of that white paper off. And now we're just gonna eyeball it. It's better to lay it down horizontally because of the way the image was. And we gotta be real careful with this one because in our attempt to get it to fit on the oval of the football glass, we cut away some of the border. So I am gonna have to take my time to cover that with the painter's tape. But baby, this little shot glass is about to be real cute. Let's save our paper. And now let's get it taped off. And I am having to take my time because again, I cut away some of that vinyl there and that will ruin the shot glass if any of the etch cream gets on it. So I'm just taking my time and cutting the painter's tape around. Again, if I had known this was going to be for the shot glass, I would have not cut as much away. But all right, money makers, we have made it into the kitchen. So a couple of things that I have to do to prepare my kitchen space for me doing this part of my craft business. So a couple of things that I would suggest that you do is, one is I clean and disinfect my counter every time I cook anyway. But when I craft in here, just to protect it, because again, this is not my home, I'm renting this, I put down some of my butcher paper. I get a big bolt of it from Sam's Club for like $27, and I swear it lasts forever. It's super uber helpful. You've seen me press with it and everything. So I always tear off a piece and I put that here. I always have some paper towel nearby because that's what I'm going to use to rinse off the armor etch. I have my armor etch cream. Now, this does tell you to use in a well-ventilated area. I'm in a well-ventilated area. It also tells you to use gloves. I am out of them, so we need to get some the next time we go to the store. But it can burn, so you want to make sure that you're very careful and not, in protecting your hands, especially if it's your first time using it. I have a large paintbrush. I got this from Michael's in this big pack years ago, and I just always use the same one over and over again. I'll show you the inside when I get ready to open it up, but I have owned this for about 2 years now, and I think maybe I'm about right here. And this is what a lot of use. Now, to be honest with you, I do a lot of glassware sales on custom orders during the fall time of the year because of etching the football wear and things like that. But also around Christmas time, I get a lot of orders for whiskey glasses and pairing those with whiskey t-shirts for guys and girls. So next thing is you want to make sure you're by a sink and near water. For me, that's this side of my sink, which is stainless steel, which I rub and scrub and clean really good when I'm done with this project. And so you definitely want to make sure that you are nearby. And then we have our 3 glasses that we're going to do. So the first thing that I'm going to do is open it up. You do have to press down to open it up. And the reason I have an extra long paintbrush is because I also want to stir it up a little bit and I don't want to get anything on my hands. It does have a funky smell. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, it does not smell good, but it does what it needs to do. All right. The next thing is that we have 3 glasses that we're going to do. So we've protected. I'm just double checking and making sure, and I see a little bubble right there. Sometimes the vinyl will lift even though it's permanent vinyl, but I'm double checking that and I'm making sure that I got rid of all my problems. The one thing too, though, if you do decide to sell these, you want to let people know is that there will be slight imperfections because it's etched, and that does happen. All right, so I've stirred it up. I'm going to get a healthy amount, and all you're going to do is dab it on. I don't like to paint it on. I dab it like you see me doing here, because when you start painting it on and smushing it and moving it around, you're just begging for your vinyl to lift. You want to do the whole glass. It probably doesn't take this amount. You just need a nice light coating. And this is reusable. So where I'm a little heavy, I'm gonna just scoop up a little bit. I'm patting it around. I do 10 minutes and I tell my artificial intelligence girly over there, you'll hear it in a second. Alexa, start a 10-minute timer. So now she will remind me. I'm making sure everything is covered with some of the armor etch. I don't want to. Alexa, stop. I saw that she was finna try to play a song and get my video demonetized. All right, first part is done. What I like to do is look here on the inside and make sure all my letter is covered. It does look like everything is. So I'm gonna set this off to the side and then I'm gonna go to my next one. Alrighty, we are now ready to rinse off the armor etch. I am running my mouth on the phone with one of my friends, but as you can see, I am at the sink. I'm using the wet paper towel. I have the glass positioned downward so that the cream is brushing off straight down and not touching any other part of the glass. And I'm just lightly using the wet paper towel to get the cream off of the glass, just like that. Once I've gotten all the cream off and I don't see any more on there, the work has been done for me. All I have to do now is peel away the painter's tape. I do that under running water just in case there was a little cream underneath. There was not. And then I also run it under the water when I take away the permanent vinyl. And as you can see, you're pulling that apart. So that's why I told you earlier in the video, this is a one and done. But as you can see, it took very little permanent vinyl for this project. And we'll discuss that more when we talk pricing at the end of the video. But right now, I just keep it running under the water while I am peeling away the vinyl that is left behind. And then once I've done that, I've rinsed it off really good. And then I'm going to put it to the side to dry and rinse off the others. And we're going to go ahead and speed the video up here because you guys just want to see what the finished product looks like. All right, we are back inside the office. Now it's time to dry off our glasses and see how we did. The beautiful thing about etching is it is a lifetime. The only way this glass is gonna lose its luster is, honey, if you break it. And there it is. Let me bring y'all close. Probably can't see it real good, so hold tight. Let's see if the white paper towel shows. No, I think we need color. I got some of this Weasley. I think that's gonna. Man, still not enough, y'all. Hold on. I gotta get some so y'all can see it. She is too cute. All right, here is glass number 1. Baby, she cute. She cute. Our little paw print is there, and the etching looks really good. That's glass number 1. Here's glass number 2 with our bears on it. Yes, it's cute and it fits. It fit inside of the oval. All right, let's go to glass number 3. And here's our third one. Classy until kickoff. Loving it. So cute. So cute. All right, they turned out great. Let's get back on camera and talk pricing. All right, moneymakers, that's it for episode 8. We have made 3 versions of our etched glass. As promised, we always talk about pricing at the end, and I share my opinion on if I think that this is a sellable project for you to add to your inventory. So let's talk about it. We used 3 different glasses. We used less than a half a sheet of permanent vinyl. We used maybe 15 cents worth, and that's being generous, of the Armor Etch, because I got it for like $8 or something like that almost 2 years ago. And we were able to make 3 glasses. Each glass is its own unique design. Of course, this is my favorite, classy until kickoff. So I'm definitely gonna be using this one for myself. And then of course, our cute little shot glass. So if you think about how you might want to make this profitable for you, at this point, it doesn't matter where, if I got the glasses from the Dollar Tree or from Amazon or in bulk or what have you, it's the customization that you're actually doing to the glasses. You can customize these for names. They don't have to say the Bears, like the team I like. This can be any sport team. This can be college football. These are cool for tailgating. They look great on someone's bar. So I definitely would never sell shot glasses one at a time. It's not worth your price. If I were doing shot glasses on my website, I sell them in sets of 4 or 6. because it has to be worth my time to spend doing what it is that I have to do. And then glassware, they absolutely can order 2 of these at a time. And then these I've never offered. So, I mean, getting these for $1.25, there's not a lot of customization space. So you will have to manage people's expectations of what they could fit here. I absolutely could have did it on both sides. I could have put Chicago on one side. I could have put the Bears on the other. So if you're going to do these I see pretty much all year round, I think. I guess when I'm looking for them, I can't say that I ever started looking for them until the fall. And that's if I don't have enough in stock. So I would suggest when you see these, you do pick these up. I know you can order in bulk quantity off of dollartree.com. But you can definitely customize this any way you want. And obviously this glass, the sky is the limit on that because you have a whole lot more space by which to customize. And then again, the shot glass is limited. But in my opinion, I definitely think this is profitable. I already had my armor etch. I already had the vinyl. I already have my subscription to Cricut Design Space. So I'm getting more use out of that. And these cost me $1.25. So at the end of the day, yeah, I think these are profitable. These glasses can sell from anywhere. If you say you spent $1.50, and that's being generous, because the biggest price is the $1.25. So maybe 25 cents for everything else. You can easily sell them. Probably do $6 a piece or 2 for $10. If you're going to do 2 of them. Again, I wouldn't be promoting only selling 1 glass because again, that takes a lot of your time to do 1. But if you're doing sets with mugs, you know, if you go into a store to buy glassware, there's usually a set of 4. So you also could do a set of 4, right? You got to always look and see what can your market bear. But imagine if you decided to put these on your table at a fall festival with the city you live in and the sports teams that everybody loves. This could be a quick, easy seller for you and cost you minimal investment. So I hope you enjoyed episode 8, learning how to use your Cricut machine to etch glassware. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure, I hear there's a thing called hype. So hype your girl up. Give me some hypes. I'm not even sure what all that means, but somebody hyped my other video. And I'm like, I want to be hyped on all my videos. So make that you. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. My goal of my channel is to always give it to you straight. Always make sure that we talk through pricing and make sure that you are making money in this thing called crafting, because crafting is a whole lot of fun, but it's much, much better when you can make a little bit of money from it. So until my next video or my next live, bye everybody. It is my absolute hope that you are finding value as a moneymaker, and I hope you'll take a moment to subscribe to my channel, watch a couple more videos, hang out, and don't forget, hype your girl up. Until next time.